Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. I'll just record the meeting.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is a hearing for the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Grimsby. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'll first introduce staff and committee members. So the committee members this evening, we have Dan Collins, if we could just have you wave or acknowledge. Hi, Dan. Dylan Bailey. Dylan. Adam Mottershead. Fabia Billing. And myself, Kevin Antonitis. Staff members this evening are Walter Basic. I did see Walter, there he is, walking around. Kayla Horton, also a planner. And Dahara Abri-Wardine, administrative coordinator. So I'll just make some announcements before we begin. Live streaming. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the Town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during our committee meeting. Just a brief overview of the meeting procedures. The purpose of the application relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given an opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable decisions or conditions. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. To do so, just email Dahara Abri-Wardine, Secretary Treasurer, at coa@grimsby.ca. The applicant, the Town of Grimsby, the minister, or a specified person or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or the conditions of consent to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT, within 20 days of the date of giving a notice of or under Section 17 is completed for consent, and also within 20 days of the date of decision for a minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include an individual or community association. So everyone present at the meeting here will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak, and each participant will be permitted to speak only once unless given permission. If you hear comments presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you're called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. Agencies commenting on applications may request certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the properties on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest in the matters before us this evening? No, and I have none as well. Request for withdrawal or adjournment. I understand we have a request for an adjournment, or sorry, deferral, I guess.
Correct.
Do we want to let the applicant state that? I mean, we've read the letter. Is it David Flett? Are you speaking on behalf of the owner for Windward?
Looking for my unmute button. Sorry. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the ownership group, the Rousseau Group, for the 4 Windwood application.
Where's Dahara? Dahara, did you want to briefly outline the request or reason for the request for deferral, and then we can vote on that matter first before we get to the regular agenda?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I think the town recommended that we don't have sufficient information to make a recommendation about the application. And that is the reason for deferral, that more studies are needed in order to be able to make a recommendation.
Did you wish to add anything to that, David?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I do want to add that we've been working very closely with town staff. This site has been subject to an official plan amendment and rezoning, as well as a current site plan application. And staff have identified that there is a parking study in the neighborhood, and they're just waiting for the findings of that study before they make any recommendations on our application. So they want to get that information and be informed. And we're happy to support that recommendation. So that's why we provided that referral request. So happy to answer any questions should the committee have any. But thank you.
Okay, then do I have a motion to approve the request for deferral? It's going to take me a second here. Dylan, so move, seconder. I can't see everybody here. Just give me a second.
Adam.
Adam, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any, was carried. So that's deferred to hopefully the next meeting in October or maybe November, but I'm sure they'll advise us. All right. Thank you for attending. Then we have to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, which was held on August 15th. They've been circulated and reviewed. Any comments or questions? If not, then do I have a mover and a seconder on the minutes from the previous meeting? Adam, seconder Dan?
Yep.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, if any, was carried. Thank you. And then the first application and only application this evening is for minor variance at number A22-23 at 246 Main Street West. Adele, I'll pass it over to you to go through the application and any correspondence that we've received.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so the purpose of this application is to permit a lot coverage of 18%, whereas 15% is permitted, and to permit a required rear yard of 3.6 meters, whereas 13.8 meters is required. And that is an image of the site plan that was circulated along with the notice of hearing as well. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. And these are the current conditions of the site, satellite images. And we received correspondence from the Public Works Department, who has one condition for the application, and no comments from Grimsby Power or the Niagara region. And as for the planning department, they agree that the minor variance is warranted and it meets the 4 tests. So I will just read out the condition required by the Public Works Department. It says that town staff will require lot grading and drainage plan demonstrating that stormwater runoff will not negatively impact nor rely upon neighboring properties. Back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is the owner or the representative here to speak to the application or add anything before we open it up to questions from the committee? I can't see him.
You can come over to the podium.
This red one. Yeah, I've got nothing to say, Kevin.
Okay, that was easy. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, all right.
Any questions from the committee members?
Yep.
Dan, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just noticed at the site inspection, there were some very healthy-looking apple trees close to where this garage is going to go. I'm curious if they're going to be, if they're going to stay or be removed for construction.
Probably, I think we keep both of them there. One of them will have to be trimmed back in this open driveway.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any delegations? You had said there's nobody here from the public, Tahara?
That's correct.
Okay, if not, then do I have a motion on the application as presented with the conditions as recommended by Public Works? Somebody want to make a motion on that? With the reasons? Adam? Thank you. If you could maybe read it and then with the reasons as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion will be resolved that minor variance A22-23 by Jose Rodolfo Bonilla for 246 Main Street West to permit a lot coverage of 18%, whereas 15% is permitted as per section 7.21. Table 11 in zoning bylaw 1445 as amended to permit a required rear yard of 3.6 meters, whereas 13.8 meters is required as per section 7.21, table 11 of zoning bylaw 1445 amended, be approved with the condition that was outlined previously. And the reasons for the decision is the variance meets the intent of the official plan, zoning bylaw, desirable for the development of the land, and it's minor.
Thank you. Seconder? Dylan? Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, then all those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any? Was carried. Carried. Thank you for attending, Garrett. There is a 20-day appeal period, as you heard before it becomes final and binding. Thanks very much. Have a good evening. And I believe that is it on the agenda, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So the next meeting tentatively is October 17th, and is that when they expect the parking application to come back, or are they going to wait one more month?
Might be one more month, because I think parking study is due by end of October. So,
Okay.
yeah, to review that, and then,
I think the letter might have said November.
yeah, so November's meeting, deferred to November's meeting, basically, yeah.
Okay, great. That's it. Meeting adjourned. That was quick.
Yeah, I also have a quick announcement that I sent over details for a conference that's happening next month.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay,
That's got some good stuff on it.
yeah, just
I have
put it on your
attended. I
radar.
have attended a few of them. They are usually pretty good seminars or workshops.
Okay,
If you can make it, I would recommend it. They usually have quite a few interesting things going on. So
sounds good. Thank you.
excellent. Thank you. Good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Recording stopped.